Hey YouTube, what's happening? It's Neburos again, and I'm back with another Sydney Watson reaction. Disney admits it needs white actresses. Saw this a couple days ago, I've been wanting to react to it for a little bit, so figured why not while I'm having a dinner. I have homemade burger with roast potato chips. Let's get into what Sydney has to say.
My ongoing question all of the time is why are they like this?
I ask myself that a lot.
Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to hell. And this video is exclusively sponsored by my company, Lions Tea Exchange, because as you all know, I have a ton of tea that is expiring at the end of November, although tea doesn't really expire because it's a dried item. But I am running a 50% off sale on my site for Earl Grey, New York Breakfast, and Emerald Green,
So what do you mean the tea is expiring if it doesn't actually expire?
using the code We Don't Waste. So many of you are incredibly cool and epic because you have helped me clear so much of this. I hate throwing tea away. I hate throwing product away. It's horrible. So thank you for those of you who've ordered so far. For those of you who haven't, give it a try. I promise it is good. And for the churches and cafes that have reached out to me about taking some tea, I promise I haven't forgotten you. It's just me. So it takes me a second to get through everything.
Yeah.
Lastly, my 3 winter flavors are back in stock. So we have bourbon barrel chai, peppermint white chocolate, and apple cider. The
Winter, so she clearly doesn't stay in Australia at the moment because it's summer in the southern hemisphere.
peppermint white chocolate is by far my favorite, but a bunch of you guys really like the bourbon barrel chai. I don't blame you, it tastes pretty dang good. Those are also on the website, ready to be drunk by all of you. That is all. Link in the description. Let's do the video.
Well, let's see how things go. Maybe I'll be ordering tea if things go well.
Now, we have talked a lot on this channel about Disney and its many failings,
Mm-hmm.
but I am personally of the
Star
hope that
Wars.
the company will eventually learn to pull its butt out of its butt, and maybe that day is today. Who's to say? Doing lots of fun rhymes. Now, some of you may or may not remember, but back in early 2025, Disney decided to stop production of its live action adaptation of the film Tangled, which was
Yep, I
originally
heard about
released
that.
in 2010. For those of you who don't know, Tangled is Disney's version of Rapunzel, and it's very cute. And I like the horse Maximus, and Mother Gothel is kind of a vibe. I don't know what to tell you. The original film
It
did
was pretty good,
reasonably
yeah.
well with audiences, grossing almost $600 million, which is likely why Disney decided it would take a run at it as its next remake victim. However, and I do always love when there's a however,
I
after
hate
their
that word.
remake of Snow White fell in an absolute heap this year, Disney finally got the message, it seems, that people were over the whole live action adaptation thing. And
Well, the criticism I heard about Snow White was that it wasn't terrible, and Rachel Zegler did a very good job of it. It was just boring, which, of course, movies you never want that to be the criticism, but still.
more specifically, live action adaptations that have improperly cast lead actresses and creepy CGI people.
Yeah, yeah.
What am I looking at here?
I still think they should have gone. They should have told Peter Dinklage to go suck eggs and hired the midget actors to play the dwarves, or the dwarf actors, whatever the case is. Midget, dwarf. Is there a difference? I don't know.
I also have to add for the 40th time at this stage that I don't quite understand what's live action about a film that is still majority animated. I
Hmm.
don't like this. Anyway,
No,
Disney went
no, I
ahead
don't
and
either.
decided to pause Tangled, which weirdly enough brought relief to a bunch of people. There are entire Reddit threads of people celebrating. I'm not sure what to make of this, but you know, it's here on the internet for you to see. And to some, of course, the timing of this pull was a little bit weird because number one, if you don't have anything to hide, then why hide anything at all? Which is why there was also a ton of speculation that this Rapunzel would have been anything but white. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your braids, I guess, maybe. I don't know, leave me alone.
Throw down your dreads.
Rapunzel, Rapunzel, throw us your weave? Maybe?
Yeah,
Which, you know,
Rapunzel,
you can't
Rapunzel, throw
blame
down your
people for
dreads.
making that assumption given Disney's recent track record. How did this man produce this many different racial children? Someone please explain this to me. And honestly,
King Triton was the Zeus of the sea in Disney's Little Mermaid live action. He was all over them hoes.
This wasn't even too far off base, given that black actress Francesca Rivers was potentially going to play Rapunzel in the remake of Tangled. Now, the reason that
Sorry, the name is Francesca Rivers? That looks like Frankie Rivers.
I don't want to harp on this too much is because it was completely speculative. I could not find any good or trustworthy sources reporting on this, and it may just well have been an internet rumor, but it does go to show that people have been subjected to this so much that they fully believed that
Yeah,
Disney would be so crazy
it's
as
not
to
a
cast
stretch.
this woman in this role, which obviously makes zero sense.
Oops,
Number
sorry.
two, it's like Snow White was not the first remake at all to fail, so if its failure was so big that it caused the company to reevaluate, well, I have some questions around that. Why go back to doing remakes at all? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Disney are just, they're money grubby, guys. They're very money grubby. But because it's the modern era,
Remakes because they actually don't have any creativity left in Disney. So it's all shameless cash grabs and all like nostalgia bait. Let's take what was successful and put a new age twist on it and maybe throw some political messaging in it. Tell entire demographics that this isn't for you. Then when it bombs, we can say, oh, but you see, they didn't watch.
and despite fans and viewers begging for new well written content and stories and productions, Hollywood has apparently learned nothing, and instead, Tangled is back on the books. But
Oh, God.
apparently, it will be different this time. According to Hollywood insider Matthew Belloni, Disney is about to cast new Rapunzel in the revived live action remake Tangled, and I'll bet you the price of that long braided wig that the gig will go to a white actress. This is what he wrote. That's a quote. Sorry if that wasn't clear. The headline I also have on screen
Damn.
here is much more succinct, which says Disney is set to hire a white actress to star in its latest reboot after dumping DEI amid woke fury.
Sorry, I just want to go back a bit.
And I'll bet you the price of that long braided wig that the gig will go to a white actress.
He makes that sound like a bad thing. I don't get it. Like, what's so bad about going to a white actress?
This is what he wrote. That's a quote. Sorry if that wasn't clear. The headline I also have on screen here is much more succinct, which says Disney is set to hire a white actress to star in its latest reboot after dumping DEI amid woke fury. Also accurate. I mean, yeah, you'd think so, given that Rapunzel's whole story is around her being blonde with long hair, and typically white people are blonde. I don't know about
Yeah.
the long hair part, but definitely the blonde part. Same with redheads. Oh, I forgot. We don't care about things like that anymore. Ignore me. Full disclosure, all of this is speculative at this stage, but Baloney adds, oh my god, I just realized that his name sounds like bologna. Like the food bologna. It's not spelled like that. but,
That's the
but
first thing
that's all
I
I can
thought.
think of now. Anyway, yeah, so he adds that he got his hands on an internal email distributed within Disney, which basically said that it was disbanding its DEI initiatives and the company intended to empower everyone instead of select groups. Okay, better late than never, I guess. In short, Baloney said
Yeah.
that Disney is very afraid of Trump and Elon and the culture war that it is currently losing. Can't imagine for the life of me why they'd be losing the culture war.
Mm-hmm.
Baloney. Baloney? Baloney? Baloney also
Get
gave
a hold
a
of
bunch of
yourself, woman.
examples of the ways Disney has recently shifted away from its diversity initiatives, gutting film development areas that might get the company into trouble, removing its Reimagine Tomorrow website that served as a hub for diversity initiatives, and I will assume she'll probably be an accurate looking Rapunzel, at least as far as the Tangled movie goes. Which oddly shouldn't be controversial, but it is, because, I don't know, I guess everything is dumb and irrational. The bottom line is that apparently, after getting kicked repeatedly in the head by audiences and having horrifically bad performing movies and content, Disney is finally somewhat leaning into what people have been asking for. Or, in the very least, their pockets hurt enough that they have finally realized that what they're doing is not working. That
Yeah,
being destroying beloved classics, race swapping characters left and right, getting overly political, and appealing to the activists outside and inside their company, which is obviously a failing initiative.
the downside of that is if the movies they create from this point onward bomb, they have something else to blame it on.
And now they're making an attempt to purge all the things that got them in hot water over the last little while and led to the numerous and catastrophic box office failures that they've had, like Lightyear and Snow White. And obviously, Disney isn't just doing this with relation to its princess films. Some of you might remember a video I made towards the end of August where I told you all that Disney was on the hunt for new original IP in an effort to win back or win over, maybe for the first time, Gen Z men. Yes, the very
I do
demographic
remember
they
that.
have been calling racist and sexist for years now. Yes, it is a true mystery why the menfolk are not interested. Truly, I am shocked. Again, the revelation was extremely ironic given the nature of the two major male orientated media properties Disney controls, that being Star Wars and Marvel. And maybe Indiana Jones to a lesser extent? Do we still like him? Is that still the collective thing? Do people like him? I mean, I
Mm,
do. Daddy Jones, congrats.
I still just prefer the first three movies that I saw. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull wasn't bad, wasn't great, but in the top worst Indiana Jones movies, and literally Temple of Doom is at the top for me because I was a kid when I first saw it and didn't much like the ripping out of hearts dude. He scared me. And all the bugs, and what was with the eating of monkey brains. Anyway, best is, I think, The Last Crusade. Then it's uh, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Then it's um, Temple of Doom. Then Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I haven't bothered watching the new one.
My television screen anytime he wants. The young version, that one with the hat and the quippy quips. If you would like to watch that video where I actually go over this, I will happily link that in the description box for all of you so you can watch that in your own time. But jokes aside, looking at these two things side by side, the desire to appeal to young men with new written content, new made content, and realizing that race swapping isn't working, and in remakes it's important to stay true to the characters as they originally appeared, it really does seem like something is shifting over at Disney. And although there will be naysayers who say that's not really happening, if we think about it from a real business standpoint and not just an activism standpoint, it makes sense that Disney would be shifting with the times, and times are changing. Everybody is aggressively moving away from wokeism and progressivism. And you guys know this because
Yeah, it's almost like they realized the people who wrote the characters they're bastardizing have a lot more talent in their pinky toe than the writers at Disney have today.
I have been talking about this a ton on this channel, all of the areas where we are seeing a very aggressive shift away from progressive leftist ideologies and values and moving more towards the center, or in some cases, aggressively swinging to the right. Because we're always on the pendulum, children. Because I have talked about Disney a ton, I'm always reticent to go over all ground, but there are still a few points that I want to reiterate or maybe make for the first time. It's hard to say. So sorry if I'm repeating myself. The news is, in fact, one giant Groundhog Day.
Don't mess with me, pork chop.
I'm not sure how to word this, so you'll have to bear with me, but I do think it's both hilarious and sad that casting a white actress in the role of Rapunzel would be some sort of pearl clutching moment for people at the company. Like they're doing something naughty that's gonna get them in trouble. Like they put their
Yeah,
little creepy fingers in the cookie jar while Mother's back was turned and they weren't allowed to do that. I think the thing here is that if the disease of forced diversity has infiltrated your company so much so that you feel weird and not right about casting white women white actresses into roles that they are appropriate for, and you feel bad about that for reasons, that's a big old problem, kids. Especially given that
Yep,
the fairy
she's
tale of
right.
Rapunzel was originally recorded by the Brothers Grimm, and it was set in Germany and originally published in the early 1800s. Ergo, she is white, and yes, she is blonde. Because, that part is very explicitly stated. I was gonna torture you all once again by horrifically mispronouncing this fairy tale's original title, but I think the original title is actually just Rapunzel, so, no weird German out of me today. I had a bunch of Germans in
Appreciate
my
it.
comments a couple months back when I tried to say Snow White in the original German as the original German title, and so many people just said, I don't know what this is. Please never do that again. But I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it correctly. Are you ready? You better be ready. Hold your butt.
Schneewittchen.
Schneewittchen. So you almost have to sound like you have a lisp.
Schneewittchen.
What is that?
Schneewittchen.
Schneewittchen.
Hmm.
Perfect. This
In Afrikaans, it's Aspostoki.
is insane and bizarre. I don't know how any of
Or was that Cinderella? I'm not sure. It's one of the two.
you speak this language. Anyway, back to Rapunzel. Even Disney originally designed the character as white, which makes sense given everything here. And as most of you probably know by now, I personally am a stickler for adaptations that stay true to characters, their appearances, their personalities, their behaviors. It's not very frequent or often that I think that big changes to a character actually work. I mean, sometimes they do, but not really all that often. And I think goes to show that when Disney stays true to their original source material, films do really well. Because
And on that, if you're going to break the rules and not honor the source material, at least be brilliant. Break it in such a way that it actually maybe improves on what you're working on. But typically, when you're doing remakes, you don't have the creative faculties to actually do that. So,
as I have said previously, a remake comes with a certain set of expectations, and there's a tremendous amount of disappointment that comes up when those expectations aren't met. For example, the 2015 Cinderella remake with Lily James did pretty well, and a lot of you, it's
I
so
never
funny,
saw
whenever I talk
this.
about this, a lot of you get in my
Didn't know
comments
this
and
was
are
a thing.
like, Sydney, the Cinderella remake wasn't so bad. And actually, part of the reason why we liked it is because it wasn't, a shot for shot. It really expanded on the Cinderella storyline in a great way. And that's great. I agree with you. I do think there are better remakes. But I'm glad that you guys like this one. Point being here, she was blonde, blue dress, glass slippers, the whole package. And the film ended up grossing 540 million because it gave fans the magic that they were sort of expecting. And I know that a lot of people liked that, like I said, it built on her story and also the story with the prince and gave him a little bit more dimension, which is missing from the original animated film. Same with the
Hmm.
recent Lilo and Stitch film,
Oh
which I
God.
know disappointed a ton of people because of the storyline. And, full disclosure, I haven't seen Lilo and Stitch, so I'm not really going to comment on this because I don't know. But
I just recently watched the original animated film. Um, that said, this doesn't look terrible, but I
I
don't.
know that
It doesn't really make me want to watch it, to be honest.
the film did do insanely well at the box office, and despite there being criticisms of the characters, particularly Nani, I do think that they look pretty good, all things considered. Compare this to Snow White, which lost $300 million, or
Probably would have been a lot less if they didn't have to CGI the dwarves.
The Little Mermaid, which barely hit 570 million, way less than Aladdin and The Lion King, which stuck closer to their roots. I think the thing here is that fans are not dumb for the most part, and we know when a company's pandering. And when said company keeps changing a character's core traits, the audience stops trusting them because it's like, what's next? Is Simba going to be a chihuahua? I will also reiterate for the 4 billionth time that it is insane that it took Disney this long to admit that it's actually bad to hire people based on diversity alone and to kind of be subversive and put people in positions where they don't make sense because you're trying to push an agenda rather than hiring those people because they are great at what they do, it's merit based, or they just happen to suit a role and they're also a good actor or actress. Hi.
Yeah, like think about Heimdall from Thor. Do you think do you think Norse demigod or was Heimdall actually a god? Anyway, you think a Norse god would be black? No, but Idris Elba did a damn good job of it and quickly became one of my favorite characters throughout the series. And no one gave a shit that he was black. A black Heimdall. Who would have thought? Nobody cared. Because you know why? Because he did a great job of it.
Hiring Rachel Zegler for diversity points is basically what capsized the film. She turned out to be insufferable and has tainted everything about this. That and the storyline made absolutely no sense, but that's okay.
Hmm
That's very 2025 coded. I also don't know how anybody can argue that it is not in fact discriminatory and racist to us pale-skinned folk while also being bigoted towards minorities for forcing them to believe that they can't get roles or get ahead in this industry without preferential treatment.
I was literally just thinking that along those lines. I would hate to actually get a movie role or something because I checked a box. I would imagine that, like, oh, you're a specific racial demographic and gender. You're hired, but you've got no idea if I can actually do the job or not. Well, that doesn't really matter because all that really matters to us is, do you check that diversity box? Seems rather
Movies
racist.
with non-white people do well. This is the it's not that deep or complicated. Mulan, classic film. They screwed up the remake because of course they did, and they removed my boy Shang, but that doesn't matter. The original Mulan did insanely well. Lilo and Stitch recently did insanely well despite the various obvious issues with the movie. There's a bunch of these things that have happened. Moana, another one, great film, did extremely well. I'm sure that the remake, I'm pretty sure they're doing a remake, that's going to do probably extremely well. The race swapping is unnecessary, and it really seems like Disney is finally cottoning onto that fact, even if they're cottoning onto it under duress. Like I have said a number of times in the past, and honestly, like basically everybody who talks about film and entertainment and whatnot has also said, people are right now dying for fresh new content. They are dying for new and interesting and well written stories. Well written is very important. They want to see
Yep.
movies that are doing something new. They don't just want to see endless remakes and reboots and sequels. And here's the kicker. Here's the thing that apparently the entertainment industry doesn't seem to understand. People don't care if the lead of that movie or those movies is black or white or Asian or a bag of sand. They don't care so long as it's good. But as long as
What did I
Disney
just
in
say?
particular, because obviously Disney's a really big player, is determined to keep giving us remakes, then personally I'm really glad that they have finally realized that giving us race swapped characters and DEI initiatives and basically butchering stories is just not going to fly anymore with audiences. And again,
Uh, I'm not sure that it was a bad thing to start off with, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But yeah, I think it's a mistake to try to empower one group by uh, what's the word I'm thinking of? Uh, new. Okay. Uh, yeah, it's a mistake to empower one group by neutering the other. It turns everything into a zero-sum game, and that's not. Life is actually seldom like that. So yeah, diversity is not a bad idea, but you got to there's a way you could do it that'll work. I'm just not sure what it is. It wasn't what they tried.
and I feel like this is fairly obvious, there is a big distinction between taking that which already exists and making it better, like Disney did with Cinderella. A lot of people seem to think and believe that. That sounded like I was throwing shade at you guys. I'm really not. I'm really glad that you liked it, and I agree. I think that building on, the princess storyline was a good thing. Anyway, there's a big difference between doing that and taking that which already exists and going haywire with it. Unfortunately, I really do think that navigating the world of remakes will always be hard because
Hmm
there are so many potholes to step in, there are so many faux pas to be made, and even when a remake is executed as well as it possibly could be, people are often still quite unhappy. So, couple
That's because you're always comparing a remake to the original, and when you're looking at timeless classics like The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, Cinderella, Snow White, um, Rapunzel, and when you're looking at timeless classics like those are some pretty damn big shoes to fill, and I doubt you could ever top what was done. There's a reason they're timeless.
This very clear reality with the fact that Disney is intent on pushing this DEI agenda, and I really do hate the term DEI, but I think it applies
Hmm.
here. It's just, it's a recipe for disaster. However, I am glad
It's
that
because
they're
they're not doing
finally
it
seeing
properly.
that. I'm glad that hopefully they are realizing that this is a losing issue, that we are moving very much away from all the things that they've been trying to do.
And here's why the DEI initiatives is a zero-sum game, because um, specifically where Disney and Hollywood are concerned, they're pushing DEI initiatives and hiring people who either can't act or aren't good for the roles, or just simply futzing around with demographics of the demographics of the characters. You know, Black Ariel, Rachel Zegler as Snow White, and whatnot. Um, and it's it's in it's in by way of trying to promote uh, diversity in the casting and whatnot, but it's taking away from people who would actually fit that role because they're white. And then the movie bombs, and so nobody benefits. So nobody wins. Not the white people, not the studio, not the diversity hires and everything. Nobody wins. That's why it's a zero-sum game, and that's why their DEI is done poorly.
Over the last number of years, and if they stay on their current trajectory of all of the weird tolerance and representation and unnecessary race swapping, it's probably not going to do them so well as time goes on. In the
Hmm.
end, I am extremely interested, and I'm not just saying that, I really mean it. I am extremely interested to see what Disney does going forward as wokeness falls away, as it realizes that many of its initiatives just don't hit with audiences anymore, and as times really do start to change. Now, on that note,
Yeah, it's almost like they may be coming to the realization that alienating your entire audience for the last like 15, 20 years is kind of a bad idea.
and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out my little tea company, Lions Tea Exchange, using the link in the description. Use code We Don't Waste for 50% off Earl Grey, New York Breakfast, and Emerald Green. Please help me get rid of these flavors so I don't have to throw anything away. And also check out the new winter flavors. I promise you won't regret it. They are extremely good. Now I open the floor
I
to
just
all of
might.
you. What do you all think? Is it surprising to you that Disney is kind of going down this anti-DEI road?
A
Maybe I'm
bit.
getting ahead of myself. Is it surprising that they're starting to kind of turn away from DEI? That they're starting to think, hey, maybe this doesn't work so well? Do you think that it's because audiences don't relate to what they've been putting out? Do you think it's a
Yep.
bottom line issue? Do you think they're just hiring people within the company who are not progressive and are not closet activists? What do you think of this Rapunzel remake? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Should we just completely park all the remakes and stop doing this? People are not
Yeah, I
interested.
think
What do
so.
you generally make of this issue overall? As always, if you have made it this far in the video, congratulations. I always like having you along for the full ride. If you are new here and you're not subscribed already and you would like to see more of me and more of this kind of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well as leaving this video a like and a comment, because I do read the majority of them and I like hearing your feedback. Like I always say, I hope you wonderful little chickadee people stay safe and well and make good choices, and go to the gym, go get fit, kiss your spouse, hug your
Can't, I'm in
dogs, love
arrears.
your kids, and I will see you wonderful little chickadees in the next video.
Bye, Sydney. Thanks for that. Yeah, so, um, yeah, it's almost like when you make bad choices, you've eventually got to make good ones. And it looks like Disney's coming to that realization, so that's good. I don't think a Rapunzel remake is rather a Tangled remake, live action remake rather, is necessarily a good thing. But looking at the quality of CGI and stuff these days, I don't think animated film is. They should just leave it alone, is what I'm trying to get to. Um, but yeah, that's going to do it for the next one. Stream is coming up in the next like half hour or so, doing RE4, and that's going to be on on Twitch and Kick. I'm still trying to work out YouTube on here, along with the others being my main streamer places. But yeah, got multi-streaming going. Check out Starforge. Check out Starforge and Puggers. Use the links in the description down below for 5 and 10% off on Puggers and Starforge respectively. You'll be helping me out a lot, and yeah, go give Sydney a follow. Check out her Lions Exchange tea thing. I'm gonna, because I'm just interested. I'm not I might not be able to actually buy, probably, almost certainly. But hey, if things work out soon, maybe I will be able to. So it'll be nice to have something to spend it on. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Link to this original video will be down below. Be sure to check it out if you want to. Remember to like, comment, or subscribe, or do all three. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And hope some of y'all will pop in on stream and say hi. Thanks everybody. Take care and good night.